Let's turn our attention now to the sad news coming from Zambia, as well as the camp of Brighton Hove Albion, and that's regarding the Zambian midfielder Enoch Mwepu, who has now been forced to retire from football at the age of 24, and this is coming as a result of a heart condition. Now, it must be said that the 24-year-old signed for Brighton Hove Albion from RB Salzburg just last year for a deal worth £18 million over the duration of 4 years. Unfortunately for him, he played only 27 matches for Brighton and scored 3 goals before he was diagnosed of a severe heart condition. And the statement released by Brighton Hove Albion about an hour ago reads in part that he is at an extremely high risk of suffering a potentially fatal cardiac event if he continues playing. And that's a statement from Brighton Hove Albion, as I said earlier. Quite a sad one there from the Zambian international. He fell ill with the Zambian national team while they were on a trip to Mali last month and had to spend 4 days in the hospital. He hasn't trained since last month, and following the results of the tests when he got back to England, the test revealed he needed to retire from football with immediate effect at the tender age of 24. This is quite sad, it must be said, but the good thing is he's alive, and his health will be managed going forward. We can remember Fabrice Muamba of Bolton at the time, who collapsed on the field of play and was literally dead for 70 minutes. His heart stopped working or stopped beating for 70 minutes. That's an hour and 10 minutes. Luckily enough, we had great physicians on the field of play who resuscitated him and got him to the hospital. Again, it's just a sad incident, especially in Africa. We've had too many of such sad incidents, from Nigeria's own Samuel Okwaraji way back in the 1989 precisely, to Mark Vivian Foe in 2003, the Cameroonian, also dying of cardiac arrest. This is another sad one affecting a Zambian, an African, but the good news is he's alive. He just has to call it quits talking about his football career. While still talking about news that broke forth in the last 2 hours, we have to talk about Steve Bruce. Yes, that's the former Manchester United player, or legend as it were, who has now been sacked by West Bromwich Albion, and that's as a result of the dismal start to the championship season for West Bromwich Albion. They've won just once in 13 league games to the start of the season, and as a result of that, Steve Bruce has been given the boot, as it were. Remember, they played a goalless draw against Luton at home, against Luton Town over the weekend, and that result was deemed to be the last straw that broke the camel's back for the owners of West Bromwich Albion. Have decided to move past Steve Bruce and look for another manager. West Bromwich Albion are currently in the relegation zone when it comes to the championship, and that's not good. Remember, it's 46 games marathon for the championship as against 38 in the top flight, which is the Premier League. So they still have about 33 games to correct the ills that has taken place under Steve Bruce. It will be intriguing to see how that pans out and who will be his replacement. But West Bromwich Albion in need of a miracle. Their solitary win this season came against Hull City way back as at August. Let's turn our attention now to Premier League football and what the most match day it was over the weekend, as we had some entertaining matches. We have to start from the big one, which took place at the Emirates Stadium, and that's Arsenal earning a 3-2 win over Liverpool, with Gabriel Martinelli getting the Gunners up and running within the first 58 seconds of the match before Bukayo Saka scored a brace in there, including a controversial penalty, which is subject to VAR controversy once again. For Liverpool, it was a match where they had to play catch up all through, coming back twice before being undone by that penalty, which was about minimal contact. But you can't dispute the fact that there was a contact there, and I think if that was outside the box, the referee would have also awarded a free kick. So in my own view, I think it was a well-deserved penalty for Arsenal, but you can always debate for and against it, considering how minimal the contact is, with Gabriel Jesus making the most of it. You also have to call into question the place of the VAR once again, as Liverpool were denied a blatant penalty when Gabriel Gabriel, or handle the ball in the box. And it just brings to fore once again the issue of the VAR and how it is used, especially in the Premier League. At the end of the day, it's the center referee who has the final say. But when called to review incidents on the monitor, it still has the shots to catch. And it's quite surprising that the VAR officials didn't tell the referee to move to the monitor to watch that handball incident against Arsenal, which could have earned Liverpool a penalty. But for all of the controversies, you can't deny the fact that Arsenal were brilliant on the night and were deserving of the victory over the course of 90 minutes, as they were the better side during the duration of the game. Salah once again missing in action. In fact, ever since he signed that lucrative contract, he's barely starred for Liverpool, so to speak. Bukayo Saka showing that the pace is there. Gabriel Martinelli once again proving a handful, even for Trent Alexander-Arnold, whose defensive capabilities have been questioned in recent months. So it's Arsenal going back to the top of the Premier League table with 24 points, and must be said that it's a well-deserved one. 24 points from 27. Now you can't deny the fact that Arsenal are not just in contention for a top 4 finish, but possibly a top 2 finish, because they are definitely showing signs of title contenders at this point in time. It's 9 games into the Premier League season, and Arsenal are showing the stuff of champions, having won 8 of them. It will be intriguing to see how they fare, especially going into the new year as well. Well, let's move away from Arsenal now and talk about Manchester City, and it's all about Haaland. For all of the good work of João Cancelo as well as Phil Foden, who can't stop scoring, or Mahrez's brilliant volley, it's about Haaland notching up his 15th goal of the season in just 9 games. Ridiculous stats, it must be said. More importantly, is that's his 20th goal in all competitions. 20 goals in 13 matches across all competitions, 15 in the Premier League across 9 competitions. The question is, who can stop Haaland from scoring at this point in time? It's definitely a great addition to Manchester City, once again underlining their title credentials as the team to beat. And I'm sure everyone will be looking out for the showdown between City and Arsenal, including Liverpool, to see how both sides fare. Yes, Liverpool may be struggling, but they've been able to defeat City by 3-1 early on this season, talking about the Community Shield. But Haaland, no stopping him. 15 goals this season. It's a question of how many more can he get. He's 17 goals away from Salah's record of most goals in the Premier League season, which stands at 32. And you can't rule out the fact that he's definitely capable of breaking that record, considering how well he has settled into life at Manchester City. You also had, as I said earlier, Cancelo getting City running, and for Southampton, it was just another sorry case for them, as they were way below par, considering the lofty standards of Manchester City. Away from Manchester City now to their neighbours, Manchester United. It's all about the record goal for Cristiano Ronaldo, who scored a 700th career goal when it comes to club football. Again, I take that again, club football, 700 goals for Cristiano Ronaldo, and that was a lovely strike. Alex Iwobi, gave Everton the lead, a well-deserved one, it must be said, because the first 10 minutes of that match, it was Everton asking the right questions of Manchester United before Anthony restored parity for them with a well-taken finish, a brilliant goal, just beating Pickford's grasp, as you can see on the screen there, before Ronaldo was also able to slot in from close range. So it's Manchester United earning an impressive 2-1 win at Goodison Park. And then for Frank Lampard, once again, they're down to earth. And it's about time you ask questions. Is Frank Lampard really the man to lead Everton Football Club? For Erik ten Hag, the win is definitely a boost, as it takes them to 5th in the Premier League standings, as United now have 15 points from 8 games, or 9 games as it were, and you still have them behind outside Champions League places, because Chelsea occupies the last spot, which is the 4th spot, with 16 points, just a point behind Chelsea Football Club. But definitely Erik ten Hag is doing something good when it comes to United and the rebuilding projects at Old Trafford. Let's turn our attention now to the Spanish La Liga. Yes, we had action. Surprisingly, it was low scoring for the both teams, especially Barcelona, and that's why we start from Barcelona at home against Celta Vigo, and it was a lone goal victory for them, with Pedro getting the goal early on in the 17th minute, as it was able to just tap in from close range to give Barcelona the win. This is the second or third match that Robert Lewandowski has failed to score, having started his life at Barcelona in flying colors, notching up successive braces and what have you. But this time around is seemingly suffering a drought when it comes to goal scoring, and there will be questions regarding the form of Barcelona. They lost to Inter Milan midweek, last week rather, during the Champions League by a lone goal, and this time around they're also recording a 1-0 win. This is their third successive match that has ended 1-0. The win, prior to the UEFA Champions League loss to Inter Milan, and now another slim victory over Celta Vigo. But the win has definitely catapulted them to the top of the standings, as they now have 22 points, from 8 games, and that's 7 wins and just a draw for them. So Xavi's men are definitely doing everything right. Real Madrid also have 22 points, but Barcelona have a superior goal difference, having scored 20 goals and conceded just 1. So it shows you how mean the difference is. They've scored 20 and conceded just a goal over the course of 8 games. So they have a plus 19, while Real Madrid have 22 points and have scored 19 goals but conceded 7. So they have a plus 12, and that explains why next week's El Clasico will be intriguing, because both teams will be going head-to-head, and whoever wins that would definitely put a bit of daylight between themselves. Well,